I don't think it's about motherfuckers being loud. It's definitely not about motherfuckers being loud. It's about non-white people being loud. And it's an excuse to
Of course,
then...
but also there's a lot of white people being loud too. Sorry, go ahead. I ain't mad at a lot of them white people. Shout out to mine.
Makes me nervous. I feel like it kind of seems unnecessary to do here. Maybe it was. I don't know what's necessary. It's not really my call, you know. And I fear that it is just more fuel for violence from authorities.
Sure, and then that begets, you know, like the crowd does not turn to those things. It's like, man, I remember, I went to Occupy Denver a few times, and that was one of the things that always felt like so provocative was their shields. You know what I mean? And when everything was normal, they would stand there in normal gear and everything would be fine. And it would be once some fucking shields showed up, people would start acting funny. And once like the fucking flex came out, people would start acting funny. You know what I mean? And then we'd get mixed, and then we get tear gassed, and fools would get shot with rubber bullets, and all kinds of fucking goofy ass shit, right? But like before, when they're being normal, yo, we did a music video. Fucking shout out to Main Rock, put together a music video with
Johnny Five,
Locker Room,
or not Johnny Five.
I forget Johnny Five's on it, but I forget the name of the homegirls who produced it, and they were tight. They normally do like documentaries and stuff, and they wanted to do this like they wanted to do something with Main Rock, I think, and Main Rock convinced them to do a music video. I assume is the way it happened. I have no idea. Maybe we'll have Main Rock one day. Shout out to homie Main Rock, and
what's up, Betty?
But yeah, so I produced this joint, and then I jumped on it, and we did a music video for it at the protests, and we did it. Say what? Blurred pic? No. That was a So Legit's video.
Those are some homies.
No. So look up 99th Problem. That was the name of the song. 99th Problem. And yeah, and there's a point where I'm rapping in front of these fools. And then
it's a good video, really good video.
You know, and it's like, well, you know, at the same time, they were way less intimidated. There was a lot of them, but they were all normal, and they were all like, we're just here. The way that they were acting was a lot more like, we're here to stop you from going on the Capitol steps. When people got too close, I remember people started getting all in their faces, so they pushed over and they pushed us across the street. And then we were over there, and everything I felt like was all right, kind of, until like a few dudes in more riot gear started kind of trying to show up. And once they came in, then shit got more funny. And then boom, bang. And it was whack, dude. It was like, man, like, I think some of it, that shit is in the music video of when it all happened and when the shit went down. And it was like, man, it's like, that's whack that's the approach. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like the natural reaction to that. You know what I mean? When you're about to fist fight and you have a knife and a gun on you, but you're ready to fist fight, and the other person, instead of wanting to fist fight, pulls out a knife, you pull out your knife. It's no longer a fist fight. Now it's a knife fight. You see what I mean? So you have these normal people. That's your fist fight. But all of a sudden your people all of a sudden pull out a bunch of knives and stand among your normal people. Well, now it's a knife fight. We don't have that kind of knife. We have this kind of knife. Boom.
Yeah, but
and then it becomes this other thing where they're like, okay, well, now it's a gunfight, and they throw it back. And there's this whole limit where it's like they're expecting, and it's like eventually there's going to be some dude who takes it too fucking far, and I'm not justifying him. I'm not saying it's fucking awesome. I think it's awful. But there's going to be some dude that takes it too far and then shoots back. Because now it's a gunfight. And there's going to be this fucking game. And then once it's a gunfight, it becomes a fucking military fight. And we can't win those. But that's when everything gets fucked up because you lose the whole cause. You lose everything else based on the way that they initially approached it. Because instead of just accepting the protest as what it is, they see a bunch of minorities being loud and they send the motherfucking army for it. And their response is wrong.
I don't think it's about motherfuckers being loud. It's definitely not about motherfuckers being loud. It's about non-white people being loud. And it's an excuse to then... Of course,
but also there's a lot of white people being loud too. Sorry, go ahead. I ain't mad at a lot of them white people. Shout out to mine.
And yes, it's there. I mean, but I'm not talking about those white people. I'm talking about the ones yelling about fucking wearing masks and shit that are loud as fuck. And we all see how that went down when they protested versus how we protested.
And again, the different reactions that they got.
Yeah. And so we did this so we could jump into this topic. You want me to start talking about that? Can we jump into
that was the whole point. But you were the one who was like, "There's nothing to talk about." So I was like, "All right, let's."
Well, it's not that there's nothing to talk about. It's just I have things to talk about, but like the actual my experience. Yeah. So, I mean, through the week it's been hard, and last night I didn't know about the protest last night, but I did my best to try and follow it as best I could online, Twitter and Facebook mostly, especially Tay Anderson, who I want to give a fucking big shout out to Tay Anderson, who is just got elected to Denver County or Denver Public Schools school board. He's one of the new members.
Tight.
Young kid. I can't remember, but I feel like he might have been in one of my classes when I worked in Aurora. Maybe, because he's friends with one of the teachers that I worked with there. But she also is just too amazing that she's so connected and awesome that she could know any kid. But Tay was homeless for like 3 years as a high school kid, moved forward, doing crazy shit. He's now one of the school board members for DPS. And he was the one who led the protest today and was there last night. He was there also with a representative. Oh man, I can't remember her name. But another school board member for DPS that was actually one of the bullets flew past her, right? That hit the Capitol. One of those bullets. Because yesterday what happened was 6 or 7. I don't remember how many. 6 or 7 bullets were fired.
Yeah, who shot it? And did you see that all the fucking headlines were about them dudes trashing them cars? And it was like, yo, you're talking about incidents that happened minutes apart and you're worried about the fucking cars and these fools were shot at.
Shot at like
legit
firing.
bucked at, but blow. Shot at.
And
where's your motherfucking morals, people? Go ahead.
So from there, that's how and this is also happening at like, the rally started at 5. That happens 5:36.
That's got to be the headline.
Right? This happens 5:36. 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then after that, the protest starts to kind of move down 16th Street. It does like kind of disperse a little bit in different places. But then at some point in between there, a rock is thrown, supposedly, sending a police officer from what I believe the fucking mayor said today, sending a police officer to the hospital, which has been DPD's focus on why they used force after that. So rock hits a police officer, and so then they then decided they can now use force. I don't think it was immediately pushed because there are videos out there where people are warned, people are told to move back and don't. People are warned multiple times, if you don't comply, you're going to be hit with this shit. We're going to do this. and they don't comply, and then they enact what they said. And then
Yeah,
I've
but
also heard stories of people who they were there and it just started happening. There was no warning. There was no move. And like, this is a firsthand account of somebody I know on Facebook, where then she posted like also the pictures of where she was hit with the rubber bullets and like the bruises that she has from them, where they just started firing on them. You know, and I've heard different stories on both sides where there's videos that there was warnings, there's stories. I haven't seen any videos. Stories. I actually haven't seen any of these videos. Stories of police not giving any kind of warning, just firing on crowds, throwing tear gas at them, people running away, throwing tear gas at people running away. Like, also that, like that,
and the pepper balls too.
Well, so the
'Cause
pepper
they shoot
balls,
those.
it's crazy. Like, there's such a lame ass video I watched. Like, I think it's lame, where there's like a police officer just like firing with
From
a paintball gun. Pop,
No,
pop,
that's
pop,
that's
pop,
the way
pop,
that they
pop,
pop those.
Oh, I know, but it
they
just looks
always
lame
look
as fuck.
I remember seeing those fools at the fucking at Occupy, and they had, you know what I mean? They had paintball guns. They're just legit paintball. They're not even extra colored. They're like the fucking.
They're red. They're like
yeah.
a aluminum, anodized aluminum
They look
red.
like they bought them off Amazon.
They did.
and they
do look
just
like that.
threw in their pepper ball joints, and they shoot motherfuckers with them. And the pepper balls, if you don't know, it's basically a paintball with pepper spray
with
inside
mace
of
in it. With mace in it.
Yeah. So
And so they're firing off all this at people, rubber bullets to tear gas. Like one was, I don't want to talk anymore about like some of the shitty stuff, but I see this happening on Thursday night from that rally, trying to follow it best I can, trying to get a story because I'm not there and I couldn't go down. And so the next morning I wake up this morning to news that in Minnesota, what is his first name?
Minnesota.
Yeah, the state I was born in. I lived there for 10 years. First 10 years of my life I lived in Minnesota. What is that CNN reporter's name?
Something
Jimenez. Omar Jimenez. So I wake up this morning, the first thing I see is the video, and this is before it really popped even on like the AP. Like, this is just like some live ass shit, and I'm like, I found it on. It just came up on my Twitter, and I see this happen, and it's real early this morning, and I just like seeing a black journalist arrested, like how it goes down live on fucking TV.
All of them, though. It's not just all of them.
It's not all of them. There's one person that doesn't get arrested.
Who?
The white person there.
No, hold on. All the white people got arrested. Maybe they didn't all go get detained, whatever. But they all got. If you watch the full video,
I saw the video.
I saw the
like the 7-minute video.
I saw
Is
the
there
full
a longer
video.
one?
I saw the full video where he starts, and it's like 4 minutes long because he starts, he's talking, and all of a sudden they come up.
Yeah,
I
watched the whole thing.
They arrest him,
Yeah, I watched that.
and then after that they arrest the producer, and then after that they arrest the other dude, and then after that they arrest the cameraman.
Yeah.
And so all those dudes are white.
No,
Maybe not the cameraman.
They're not all white.
That
they're not all
producer
white.
was hella white.
Well, the
The
producer
producer was white as hell.
The producer might have been, but the other guys aren't.
Whatever kind of
And
white
then
y'all want to say, he was white.
There was also another report of a person out there who was questioned by the police, asked what he was doing there, showed his credentials, was fine, and he was white. He was a person who came forward, told his story, and he's like, "I'm white. This is what happened to me." They didn't do anything to me. They questioned him. They knew he was there. They didn't do anything to him. And then when the producer got arrested, and then Omar got arrested, and then they subsequently the cameraman, and then I think the boom operator is my guess, who's the other dude there.
Yeah, there was 4 dudes that got arrested.
And so they arrest all of them. And again, also shout out to the cops that arrested him. I got the feeling when watching them, they didn't want to do what they were doing. They did not seem like.
Yeah, like
or at least it didn't make sense. At least it didn't make sense to them.
They had to do it.
They were just like, I guess this is what we're gonna fucking do. I guess because like they're really patient. They like hand them the microphone. Like,
well, they were asking him, and the dude was even Omar was trying to explain to him. He's like, "Yo, we were here, and this is where y'all told us to be. And if you want us to go somewhere else, just tell us where to go. We'll go right now.
We'll be
tell
wherever you need us to be."
And there was even like a moment of like dialogue almost where they were like trying to figure it out. And he's like, "Well, tell us where to go. We'll go right now.
And there has to be somebody.
This is where y'all told us to be." So we'll move. Tell us where to go.
There has to be somebody in their ear on their little fucking walkie-talkies and shit saying like, remove
saying,
that.
yeah.
Remove them.
They're showing too
they
much
need to
right
be
now.
removed.
They're making it look like this. We don't like it. Turn them off.
Exactly. And
isn't that whether I mean, sure, CNN is doing that, but CNN has freedom of speech, and they're documenting something, and sure, their commentary may be whatever, and they may be placing themselves in places whatever, but still, whatever they're doing is still real.
they're still journalists at the very
And they're still journalists.
least you can say CNN is a
you know what I mean?
journalist.
If the
but
police,
Omar Jimenez is,
what does it mean if the
doing his
police could
best.
just pull off fucking journalists, regardless of how they are? Yo, it could be Alex Jones running out there acting whatever. It's like, what does it mean if police could pull out journalists and be like, yo, you can't do that?
And so when I wake up and I see that shit happening, I get this internal feeling where I'm like, fuck. And I know that I wasn't sure what time the rally was at. I knew there was another one today. And I was like, fuck, I got to figure this out. I already started getting the feeling of like, I want to go or I need to go. Not so much I want to go, because there was no part of me before I got there that wanted to go, because I was scared. And I'll be honest, I was scared from seeing the other shit I saw on Facebook, from that stuff, from like you said, fucking blah, 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 shots being fucking fired, right? Like,
That'll happen.
I talked to a friend who's like, I won't even, like, I can't go because I have my kid, and I'm not bringing my kid down there.
No doubt. Don't do that.
And so, like, first in the morning, I was like, well, I'm not going to go if I can't find somebody to go with. I'm not going to go alone. That's dumb. That's dumb.
I went alone.
And I thought
Bubba
about
down
it.
there. Shout out to Bubba.
And I thought about it and talked to a friend about it, and who, like, I should probably read it because he called me out.
I'm talking
like
about
a
Occupy.
hard motherfucker.
I'm talking about Occupy.
I was like,
talking
I
about
didn't
this
see
new
y'all
one.
down there.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about Occupy back in the day. My bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead, though.
But my friend hit me with, I'll just read the last part. That was the part where I just had to, like,
Go ahead.
get past my shit. So he told me, plus white allies should be willing to take the risk too, and put themselves on the front line.
I mean,
that's the truth. Is that
true sometimes? I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah,
and it's not the truth in like a figurative or a literal way. It's not a literal put yourself on the front line if you have to, but you have to go out and be in a space.
You got to be in that.
You have to put your presence in the space.
Other white people got to see you and see that it's okay. Because again, we all have that psychological thing going on, and that's what it takes for other. You know what I mean? Other people to even acknowledge the perspective is to see familiarity first in that crowd and be like, well, what perspective made them over there? They look just like me.
Yeah.
What's up with that? Why are they over there doing that? You know what I mean? And that's, that's why that's important. Just in case anybody was like, oh, it's always about racist and that. That's not, man. It's about psychology. It's about if you grew up with mostly white people around, and you see white people doing something, you question it a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, the more experiences that you can put yourself in front of, especially that are like I'm talking to my fellow whites out there, the more experiences you can put yourself in front of with people who aren't white, the easier it becomes. Because they have always, if you're open to them, they're going to be cool with you, period. I've been shown a lot less love from white people, let's just say that, than I've ever been shown from people who aren't white, in terms of strangers or people who like know me but don't know me, Yeah. And so let me get back to this story where I can get into where I'm actually.
Fellow whites, but go ahead, go to the story.
I already gave my message to fellow whites. Stop fucking hijacking protests that aren't yours. Be an ally or step back. Or really step back. Just period. Step back. Like, that's literally something they asked us to do multiple times. Like, again, shout out Tay, where he asked the people who wanted to come up that were black people to come up to the front and be at the front and be together with all the supporters there as well behind them, everybody, and then like joining in chants. And it's tough in Denver because, like, I don't know how big the crowd got. I don't know. It's hard to say, especially when you're on 16th Street Mall and like it's narrow, right? And so it's hard to know how many people were there.
It's just a big mob of zombies.
Yeah, I mean,
not that motherfuckers are zombies. Don't be over here taking my words.
Right, right. But so to get into this story, so I get convinced. I go. My friend sends me that message, and I'm just like, oh, gosh, he's right. I need to do this. This is why I feel like this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because like the feelings inside of me are because of exactly what he says. Because I know I have not a responsibility, but I know that I need to be there for whatever reason it needs to be, and that the fear of, and like the other part of the message he sent me is like, I've been afraid of protests. We've been afraid of protests. Like this, like it's part of it. And like even if you have to go alone, dude, go. Like you got to go. And I was like, yep. And then so I went, figured it out, walked down there. Caught the protest right as they were coming to the Capitol, went to the Capitol with them, walked up to the steps, waited for that, they did their speeches, Tay spoke there, and then a group, I would say the group is probably around 300-ish, and I don't know how good I am at estimating crowds, but that's what I would guess. Not huge, not small. And then that group of people walks, and I walk with them to the 16th Street Mall from the Capitol steps. And then we walk down the 16th Street Mall, take that all over, and just walk down all the way down, all the fucking way down, chanting, signs, all this. Some weird things that about that part. So like in the experience. So the entire time there was a cop car ahead of us, like about a block-ish ahead of us. But they also weren't stopping traffic for us when we were crossing all the streets downtown. But they were just one cop car always a half block ahead of us, so they never stopped traffic, but there was one there the whole time, and we were just walking it down the whole time. And then we got down to like fucking what's one of those last ones on 16th Street where the bus just starts, fucking like 𝗏𝗧𝘂𝗶𝗹𝗯𝗍, some shit like that.
Yeah, okay.
So we walk all the way down there, and then we little convene. Tay does his thing makes his first little speech about asking white allies to not throw rocks at fucking police, because that's what happened last night. Somebody threw fucking rocks at police, and that's what gave them the okay.
That's what always does it, buddy.
Bing, 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 all this shit. And it happened again today after I left. I left, and I'll get to that part of the story too. But we meet down there. He asked for that, and then he requests for the whole group then to go back to the Capitol steps, and or not the Capitol steps. What's the one that's not the one that gets lit up by rainbows, but the one that's like on the other side of the park?
The gold one.
Yeah, the non-gold one, the courthouse, or maybe the one on the other side. And so the like group of people comes, and we march all the way back down. Which the weirdest part, not weird, I don't know. The part that was just like the only part that I really felt disrupting, at least like walking down 16th Street, besides like traffic, because it was dead already. I walked down to get there, like from my office. I parked at my office, walked down, dead. And so when we were going down there, you're not disrupting much, but there was some like people eating, and like there were some workers like doing some shit along there. But the people eating were definitely like, it was wild to see like the reactions of people, because most of them were like, the people out eating in restaurants right now seem to be more affluent than others.
Of course.
And so those are the people that are sitting there. You can picture them however you like. But I had so many stares, like they're just staring at it, like so many people who just were like, what the fuck is going on? And from like business people in suits to just like folks just sitting down for a salad. But like I said, a little bit more of like, seems like you're okay to going out and be eating at restaurants right now. The only people who didn't seem like that kind of affluence were like, there was a lot of like people who were working on 16th Street, construction workers, like whatever they were doing, cleaning, people watering plants. And the reactions from those people were crazy too, from like people who were like throwing their fists in the air, people who were just recording it. Like that was the weirdest fucking thing, where people who were just like recording it, like just no expression on their face, just like, I don't know. And when we went back, the recording really was weird, because like when we first came, nobody really knew about it, and the rush kind of, people were just like shocked. But then when we walked back down the same street, people are all out with their fucking phones, and like, you know, from everybody to like the white-haired security guard on his fucking like iPhone 5. And then you have, you know, all the other like, you know, Hannahs and Katie's and Karen's and all of them like out on their phones too, like just pausing their fucking mimosa or whatever they're having this afternoon to record all this shit going down. And we walk back, we get to the Capitol, and it was pretty cool when we did get to, or the one on the other side of the park, because I don't know if the folks didn't get the message or what, but there was probably like another like 300 people that had congregated over the last hour and a half that took us to walk back and forth at the Capitol. And then like, so one of the parts that did like move me the most is the protest or the chant of hands up, don't shoot. Cause like walking 400 people down 16th Street where everyone is like having their hands up and stopping traffic, all chanting, don't, hands up, don't shoot. It is a somewhat of a powerful, well, at least for me, it was a powerful like fucking statement that I saw. Sure. And and at that point, it's probably like 500 people in the crowd. They're walking down and back and doing all this stuff. And at that point, we're walking up onto the Capitol, and then like those 300 people like descend down that big hill of grass to like meet our protest as well, and then congregate on the steps at the Capitol, like right there. And then they start their a little bit of a conversation about it. And they talk and they do the pledge. I can't remember all of it, but it's a common like protest collective pledge around rights and breaking chains and all that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
But I stayed for that, and then I could only stay for a little bit through there. And this was I think I left at about 1:30, 1:40, and it started at noon. So that was like down back at the Capitol, and then I took off. And it continued from there. Like I said, it got way bigger right before I left when like the two big groups converged, where I would guess there's probably 1,000 people. And then this grew to where I saw before the podcast, the last video I saw, it looked like there was no room to stand on any sidewalks all the way to the streets that the Capitol is on, right? Filled, steps, everything filled. There probably was a good 2,000 to 3,000 people at that point. Before they disbanded. This was right after somebody again threw a rock at a police officer, and then they started macing people.
Yeah.
And then they had to ask again, stop doing this, stop fucking taking over this protest. We are being peaceful. And even this one dude got up on there on Facebook Live and was like, I will fucking catch your fate. If you come at me and tell me that you're here to throw shit at the cops, I'll catch that fate with you right now.
So I hear you, but this protest definitely seems, the way you've explained it, like and I don't want to say typical, man, but typical protest. And not that the typical protest is bad. I've been there. That's what I'm saying. But like it at a point, they ain't hearing, they ain't listening. Right. And then it's like, oh, wait, so that's why you're right and everything. And I hear why that would be the answer. But I don't think they're listening to that either. Right. And I don't know what kind of protest. Listening. Well, see, I don't know what kind of protest.
They're getting scared.
Well, here's a good example. Right. I'm wearing this shirt. Right. The occupation of Alcatraz. And that was done by the American Indian movement back in 1969 to 1971, I think.
Pretty good.
1971. So it started the year. It was the summer of the fucking
summer of '69
of the moon landing. And so during all of that, the natives took over the abandoned Alcatraz Island because it originally had belonged to native lands, and it was originally part of a reservation. And somehow, basically, the way that it goes, they needed it, so they took it. And they turned it into Alcatraz Island. And then when they abandoned Alcatraz in 1969, the American Indian movement went and took it over for 2 years. Held that shit.
There's a like Radio Lab or NPR thing about
held
this,
that shit. There? I'm not sure.
I know this story. I've heard this story.
Yo, the occupation of Alcatraz is what led to, is part of the array of movements at the time that was going on as far as Native American rights.
Is that the time around Wounded Knee?
Wounded
the
Knee.
Wounded Knee used to be way before.
Wounded Knee is
What's
18,
the one that?
is 18th,
What's the other one though?
60s.
There's another one that happens around there in that
57s.
area. I feel like in that time that I feel like there's a more recent one that it's not Wounded Knee. It's something like maybe in the Dakota. Maybe I'm wrong. I could easily be wrong. I'm terrible at history.
In the 70s, early 80s, I believe, was when 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗃 got taken. 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃. 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃, I think that's how they say it. That's when he got he's been in prison since then, and he was, some say, wrongfully convicted. I completely agree, of murdering 2 FBI agents that went on the res and was starting shit and got shot at during this whole time when everything was getting fucking funny. But the whole part about the whole reason I was bringing up the occupation of Alcatraz is that I bet that a lot of y'all have never even heard of that. Like, you'll have to Google it right now, like the occupation of Alcatraz. What is that? And what was going on? And there's a lot more to it than what I said. That's just the basic understanding of what I know. You know, I know that John Trudell was there. R.I.P. John Trudell. And Russell Means. And so R.I.P. Russell Means. And so it's just like, that got forgotten. And they peacefully, but then, defended it. But there was never any, like, crazy bloodshed. There was always they tried to cut off the supplies so that they couldn't get supplies type of shit. There was always that kind of game, but it was always quote unquote peaceful. Nobody ever did nothing funny like that.
But they weren't going to let it stand.
But they held it for 2 years. And then still, I tell you that native rights and lands and the relationship between the U.S. government and these sovereign nations hasn't changed. The U.S. government is real controlling when they don't like something that's going on, and when it's when it's negative or whatever, they say, well, we can't do that. You're a sovereign nation. Oh, there's this Indian Act, so nope, can't do it. We're not helping. And so you just got like these impoverished areas that have zero resources and
constrained for their resources. It's not that they have zero, like
a culture that was stolen from them. And we're not talking about 100,000 years ago. We're talking about this. They stopped doing it legally in like the 60s, stripping kids from their moms and then Americanizing them, colonizing them. They called it fucking, what do they call it?
Appropriation.
Is that what they call it? No, that's when they take shit. When you
assimilation.
That's
the word I wanted.
Assimilation. They were assimilating, but by assimilating, they didn't allow these kids to speak their language, to run their own, to speak their own religion.
Straight up
stole them from their parents, and they were, tossed off. And then you find out in a lot of these places that those kids were not only beat and fucking treated in awful ways. Sometimes they would just die. And because there was no record of whatever, 𝗶𝗧𝘂𝗶𝗆𝗆, they would just get rid of the body. And we're talking about not 50 years ago, my guy. You know what I mean? So it's like, again, I don't mean to be all dark and whatever. And I'm definitely not trying to compare anybody's situation to death. That's not the point. The point is about protesting. Is that it's like, this was a big, powerful protest that should have been really loud, and it got dismissed, right? And it's like, and I'm sure there were a few things that probably came from it, but not enough. Definitely way not enough, And it's like the same thing happens when these protests are typical, right? It's like there's just enough loudness to get somebody whatever to you wait for it to fucking die off on its own, and then nobody does anything about it. And it's like, all right, well, is the answer rioting? I don't think so. But I don't know what the answer is either. You know what I mean? Because the peaceful protests ain't working. They're mad at these fools when they do it. When people use their platforms to do it, to try to make political stands nowadays, fools like fucking X you out for it. You know what I mean? Marlon Brando didn't accept his Oscar. he sent up homegirl, forget her name, and she was a native, and she went up in all of her regalia, and she gave a speech about Native Americans. They tried to cut her off. She had like a whole thing written out that she was supposed to say, and Marlon Brando told her that she's, to take the award and make sure that they know that she's not accepting it. And he's not accepting it because of the fucking the treatment of Native Americans. You know what I mean? And it's like, and some people hated him, whatever, but he's regarded as a great, right?
No, not just a great. One of the goats that changed acting forever.
That changed acting forever. And you see how you use this platform. And they either dismiss you or nowadays they fucking cancel you. So it's like, I don't know what the answer is. And I don't know what we do. But we got to do something. Motherfuckers gotta I don't know, man. I don't know. There's got to be a way to get perspective across. And I don't think stop protesting. That's not what I'm saying. Keep protesting. But I just don't know if that's enough. And I don't think the answer is rioting either. So I'm not confused by it.
So I mean, I kind of agree, because I like, part of me also is just like walking down the street shouting things, and I'm like, this isn't doing nothing, right? Like but also part of it is that you're enacting one of your rights that we have as Americans that is valuable, which is the right to assemble peacefully, right? Like to assemble. And like, even though it's not doing much, if all of us are just like, the right to assemble doesn't matter, and we're just not gonna, because it's not doing enough, it's not making enough change, that's when they don't change. If we go, and like, the point is putting bodies in spaces of just showing in volume that there's people here to use their right to assemble, to show that they are feeling like, I mean, I'm just fucking mad. That's why I was there. I was fucking pissed, and I didn't know how else to like make myself feel a little bit better about how mad I am about what's going on in this, besides going there and trying to like exercise something of the rights that I have as a person, where I cannot take from others, but also like give myself up.
Sure.
And so I hear you in that it's hard to see the effect of like walking down the street on 16th Street shouting, right? But this will be nationally covered across the nation, right? And the more people that look like me there, the better.
Sure. No, I completely hear you. And I'm not for stopping. I'm for protesting. It's a right we have. And everybody should exercise it if they feel, or if and when they feel injustice. Yeah. If they feel like what they're doing, witnessing injustice or enduring injustice, they should take the opportunity, especially if there's a group, to join and move forward with whatever they believe in, their values. I'm with it. I'm just saying, I don't know if that's enough.
It's not. It's not anymore.
And I wonder what is, boy. I wonder what is enough.
We're seeing what is enough. Or we're seeing the beginning of what's enough. Because you said rioting is not the solution. You're right, but it's part of the problem. It's part of the solution to the problem. Right? Rioting is a step on the path to where we need to go. Because, like we've seen, we've tried other ways to protest. We've tried peaceful protest in like very public ways. We've done all that. Kaepernick, blah blah blah, overdone. Because that we've tried, and then when you get mad that fucking people are rioting and burning things down, like burning down things that they feel like, I think it's really easy to see the disconnection between like what they call looting and burning and all this. I would go out to bet that a lot of those are pretty purposeful. Like Target burning, that wasn't an accident that Target got fucking targeted. No pun intended at all. Like, from what I hear, Target funds the Minneapolis Police Department pretty heavily. And I'm pretty sure Target's based in Minnesota too, if I remember right, that their like headquarters are Minnesota. I think, maybe need a fact check. But I like, a lot of the shit going on is pretty purposeful. Like I said before in earlier in the show, where when it was asked for an immigration lawyer not to like have their building burned, it's still standing. These people aren't out there to fucking just destroy, like seek and destroy and fucking, oh, we get this excuse. They're angry. And their anger is going somewhere because when we've put it in a case where they say they need to be peaceful and they've tried to hold in all this anger and now it comes out and you're fucking mad because they're rioting. Oh, I don't agree with the rioting. Like, I'm sorry. Fucking get over it. Like, stop being soft. It's so fucking soft. That's all I think about when people complain about rioting. I'm like, soft. Like, please just know that these people are fucking struggling. And a lot of the people that I feel like that I am calling soft is just like I know that you've been through a struggle. I know you've had it before, and like seeing that you're just like complying with like, oh, rioting, all that stuff. Like, oh, I don't think that's right. That's too far. It's not too far. Believe me, we haven't gotten to the point of too far. We're not even close to the point of too far of where revolutions go, of where revolts go, whether they're a revolution or not. If people revolt, fucking, what's going on now, burning down a Target with no deaths.
But the way to avoid that is to have some kind of change.
I don't think we have change without it. We've tried it otherwise. We've had riots even before. You look at Rodney King, and yes, it made some change. It made some advancements, but we've gone through now, just our generation of people have gone through fucking dozens of police murders that have happened around the country. Dozens. Like, that's fucking wild. And I don't even remember that, maybe because I was little, but I remember this is more like last 15 years that I remember most of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because we all have cameras, though.
Sure. And it was happening before. It was absolutely.
Because before that, motherfuckers was rapping about it. And then when they was rapping about it, everybody was like, no, that's not real. And now you have cameras. So you see that it's real.
Yeah.
And they still go, that's not real. I read this statistic that this many whites get killed by blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? If 40% of whites get killed by police, they make up goddamn 70% of everybody. Of course they're the most.
Right.
And then blacks get killed like 30-some% or something like that. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's a gang. And they make up like 12% of the population. So tell me where the fuck that math comes in, smart fuck.
Yeah. Fuck.
Anyways,
that.
I think we should wrap this up. We appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you guys chilling with us on this little, we'll call it LRVT After Hours. You know what I'm saying? And my name is Justin. That's Steven. Make sure you subscribe to us. We appreciate that shit. And right here, go ahead and click right here. That's the episode before this. So that's episode whatever this is, 19 or something. 18 maybe? I don't remember. It's episode whatever this is. Watch that shit if you haven't seen it. Otherwise, subscribe right there where Steve is pointing.
That's it.
Holler.